Welcome to Wednesday Call Live. Now let's hear it for our special guest host, Stephen Davies.
Thank you, man. I'm so excited to be hosting the TWC this week. Guys, we have so much crazy good stuff going on. We just got back from Houston out there with Corebridge. They want the business. They're saying, tell us what we need. We were just with Columbian Financial Group in California. Before that, we were at American Amicable. We've got stuff going all over the country. We've got a boot camp coming up here at my office this Saturday. It's going to be intense sales training. I'm out on the road after that, going to Detroit, Des Moines, Atlanta. And I'm just booking a trip to Dallas because we got fire going on in Dallas. Oh my God, it's happening everywhere. Everybody's selling, everybody's recruiting, everybody's building. I'm just telling you right now, there is so much momentum. Let me tell you something. Momentum makes us more. Momentum makes us more than we are. You get momentum, you look like you can't do anything wrong. You get momentum, it looks like you just create magic. I'm just telling you, that's what we've got right now all over the Alliance. So I'm so happy that Andy asked me to host, trust me to host on TWC this week in such a crazy time of momentum. He's out there. He is just out there getting it, going to all the cities, getting to as many people as he possibly can. I'm just telling you, now's the time. If you were ever going to reach down and find that next gear, now's the time. So here's what I want to talk about. And I got some of my friends on with me today. I want to talk about how to set and accomplish bigger goals. Why talk about this? Because 2023 is coming. And let me tell you something. What Holly and I want for you and your family is for 2023 to be the best year in the history of your family. The year that makes for a major breakthrough that changes everything for the rest of your family's history. That's what we want. So what I want to talk about is how to set and achieve bigger goals, because now's the time. Now's the time. If we wait till January 1st to start thinking about what we're going to do in 2023, if we wait till then, it's too late. It's already happening. That's why so many people fail in the things that they set out to do in the new year. They fail because they don't give themselves sufficient time to get their life organized in a fashion that will make accomplishing that goal possible. Because you got to get it organized now. Here's the one thing I know about life. Your life and my life generally are working out exactly as we've organized our lives to work out. Meaning we've organized our life a certain way, and that's producing our current result. We can't just think January 1st is some magic date on the calendar. It's not some sort of amulet, or it's just a number. If we don't organize our life in a way that will put us in position for a successful 2023 now, we're going to end up back here same time next year going, hey, 2024, we'll get him in 2020. No. We can't lose that whole year. So what we're going to talk about today is how to set and accomplish bigger goals. Have you ever looked at goals and looked at people and wondered, how does that person set a goal that high? Or why would a person set a goal that low? Why so different? Why would one person set a goal way up there and dadgum, it looks like they're going to hit it? And another person sets a tiny goal, and it's like, well, I don't know. What's the difference? That's what I want to talk about. And what we're going to do is work through a 3-stage process today to help you and I set and accomplish bigger goals in 2023. So here's the flow. The first part, we're going to talk about where goals actually come from. We're going to explain why one person thinks they can do that big thing, and one person thinks, I don't even know if I can get that little thing done. We're going to explain how that happens. And by explaining how that happens, we're going to show you and I what to do to think more like that person, less like that person. Think more like that person, less like that person. Think I can go out and I can go partner in 18 to 24 months. Go out and think I can go from key leader to board member in the next 12 months. I can do that. That's what we're going to talk about. So we're going to lay out how it works, and then what you and I will do, excuse me, is use what we know about that to our advantage. Because the rules are the rules, right? Like gravity's gravity. Whether or not you want to agree, disagree, it doesn't matter. Gravity's gravity. You can use it to your advantage, or you cannot. We're going to use what we know about goals and where they come from to our advantage. Then we're going to talk about this big piece right here, thoughts and beliefs. Because what happens is people set a goal, but then they don't equip themselves with the thoughts and beliefs to accomplish that goal. Let's talk about a common goal. Everybody's a common goal for January, right? This is the year I get in shape. This is the year I get in shape. Okay, awesome. If we don't think about what we think and believe, we're not going to do it. We're going to do exactly what we've been doing now. You kind of think about it like this. There's three versions of all of us. There's the current us, the present us. That's me, you, right here today. This is the present us. And then there's these two different voices that are going to pull on us. Our past self or our future self. Remember, our present self just got here. Your present self gets here and goes, hey, I just got here. Well, what am I going to do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? The past self says, hey, man, tell you what, here's what I've always done. Here's what I think. Here's what we know to be true about the world. And if your present self listens to that guy, then you're never going to accomplish anything. You're going to do, because that's all he knows how to do is what we've done already. He don't know anything more than that. He don't know anything more than that. So what we're going to do here and here is start asking that guy to coach us up. Start asking that guy to coach us up, because that's the only one that can pull us up. Past guy, all he knows is how all the stuff we screwed up, that's his fault. All the dumb things I said, that's that guy's fault. This guy knows stuff. I need to listen to him. So that's what we're going to talk about as we go through this flow and come up with definite things to do. All right, so let's get going. There's a simple formula where goals come from. Let me explain it to you. Here's the simple formula. There's three components. The first is exposure. The things we're exposed to, the things we have been exposed to, the things we will be exposed to are a major factor in what goals we set, think we can accomplish, and do accomplish. So that's the first part. It's a formula. Those of you that know me know I love formulas. Why? Because formulas are always true. Does that make sense? They're not subjective. In other words, a formula is a formula. As long as you use it, it's going to work out the same way every time. I love that about formulas. All right. So here's the formula. It's exposure plus desire plus confidence. That's what creates our sum total of the goals we set and think we can achieve. So here's the formula, real simple. We take our exposure, the things we have been exposed to, are exposed to, and will expose ourselves to. We add that plus the desire, the level of desire we have, the things we have desire for, and then we add our confidence, and that is what's going to create the goals you and I think that we can accomplish and the goals that we can achieve. If you ever seen someone where they'll set a tiny little goal and they'll hide it, they'll set a little goal and then they'll hide it. Won't tell nobody about it. Just in case I don't get it done, I don't want anybody to know I set a goal. This is why. When you have someone that comes out and says, look, I'm going partner in 18 months. I know I just got here, but I'm going partner in 18 months. The same thing's at play. Does that make sense? The same thing is at play in both instances. So let's talk about it. The first is exposure. Here's why exposure is so important. We can't make decisions based on stuff we don't know, based on things we don't know to be possible. In other words, we can't set a goal for something we don't know to be possible. That's why what we expose ourselves to is so important. That's why new things, that's why getting away from home, going to stuff like Corbridge in Houston, going to stuff like the American Amicable thing, going to big event. That's why that's so important, so that we get exposed to stuff that helps us think bigger. Now, who I've got with me on this one is Sabrina Floyd. She is on fire right now. Like the group she has coming on in Dallas, Texas. Me and Andy have been texting back and forth all morning. I've been at the doctor's office all morning. I'm just texting back and forth with Andy. I'm just going, oh my God, this group. The group that Sabrina Floyd has coming on in Dallas, Texas is crazy. She's been all over the place. She's at the IUL extravaganza with us. She went to the yacht show. She is all over the place. So Sabrina, come on and light us up on what you know about exposure, the power of exposure, and then what you do to make sure you're constantly putting yourself in the way of stuff that will make you think and be bigger.
Hey, Stephen. Hey, Alliance family. What's up? I am so grateful and so thankful for this opportunity. Thank you for having me on the call. Thank you to you and Holly for always giving me your love and support. Thank you to my upline, Edward Soto. Thank you to Andy and Jane Albright, who created this wonderful opportunity, this gift that we call the Alliance. And exposure, oh my God, that word is so powerful. I think a lot of times when we think of exposure, a lot of people think about things. They think about tangible things. And those things are great also. But you also have to get exposed to experiences. You have to get exposed to people. And getting around top leaders, getting around the VPs of these carriers at the IUL and annuity extravaganza, getting to sit there and break bread with Gary, who's the VP of North American, and get to pick his brain and understand the new products that are coming on board. But more importantly, for him to get exposure to who we are as well as individuals. So that if you have a problem and you pick up the phone, they will pick up the phone and answer and help you out. Going to the AIG event, oh my God, Corbridge, class act. I think Jeremy Cole said it best. They have set the bar for other carriers. But having that exposure, that experience of that treatment coming from Larry and Mike and those individuals was simply amazing. But getting around Andy and at the IUL event and going to that yacht show, you talk about dreaming big. Sitting there with Andy and being able to help him decide and talk about what type of yacht he may want, and asking us, well, what type of yacht do you want? What size do you want? Just those simple, basic things. I remember going on a trip to Aruba, that exposure, the extraordinary trips. And I'm listing all these things, places, and people because that has allowed me to dream and set goals on a higher level. That's what those events do. Andy always tells us to order the Rob Report magazine so you can go through and dream and imagine those types of things. Going to Andy's cabin, just sitting down and fellowshipping with you and Andy and really strategizing, and more importantly, exposure allows you to see how true leaders operate, what that looks like, how you mingle, how people perceive you, how you want to operate your business, how you want to go forward. In this gift called the Alliance. So those are some of the main key things that I took away from there. And it's so right. I remember being a teacher, a high school, and I had one class in particular, and many of my students never left New Jersey. And I remember taking them on a trip to Maryland. We went to Baltimore, Maryland. We explored the harbor and different restaurants. Oh my God, what that exposure for those young minds did for them was amazing. It was priceless. That's the gift that the Alliance keeps giving us. That's why it's important to get to breakthrough. How breakthrough, that exposure to different things such as how to personally develop and let things go and move forward. Going to NatCon for the fellowship and the networking. You never know where you're going to go, what you're going to hear, and who you're going to meet. So just having those type of events, that's why they are so important. And if you never go and you stay where you are, how could you ever dream or believe that you can accomplish anything more than the circle of your friends? There's always say, if you look at the circle of your friends, if you're the smartest one in your circle, you need more exposure. You need to get yourself out and you need to go do something else. If you want to be partner, then you need to be around partners. If you want to be a millionaire, you need to get exposed to millionaires. If you want to be a six-figure earner, you need to be around six-figure earners. If you want to be a great dad, then you look for a great dad. If you want to be a great husband, Then look for an example. That's what exposure gives you. Exposure allows your mind to open up. Exposure allows you to say, I can do that too. And I'm going to dream big. I'm going to set my goal. Exposure allows you. Me and Andrew's relationship, me and your relationship has excelled by these last few weeks of just me traveling around the country with you guys and watching how you operate and listening in on conversations, watching Andy operate on how he's brought all these sharp key people in from the Instagram. Amazing. Just watching how you operate. That's what exposure is. It's not just the tangible things. It is the beautiful homes. It is the yacht, but it's also getting around the fire, getting around the energy. Because guess what? If you're down and you're exposed, you will catch the fire too. I'm in 24/7. Are you?
I'll tell you what, if you lack passion in your life, ask your doctor if Sabrina might be right for you. I'll just tell you, if they made a supplement, I would take it all day. You get me fired up. I love your fire. I love your passion. And I know this is all happening. I know we're on the call, but I'm going to Dallas to get around that crew. You have massive things going on in your business. I am so excited. And you're right. The last few weeks of us being together, it's like a whole other level. It's a whole other level. And exposure is one of those things. If you don't know, you don't know. You know, and she talked about being a great parent or having a great marriage. Holly and I are passionate about family. We want our family to thrive. If someone grows up in dysfunction and doesn't know that there's thriving families out there, then they don't think that it's possible to have anything other than what their crazy, chaotic parents did. Does that make sense? So it's the whole thing. And you're right. It is about the goals we can accomplish in business. It's about the goals we accomplish in life. And that's one of the things, when you look at exposure, this is what happens to folks generally as they get older. When you look at someone like John Maxwell, who's in now his late 70s and continues to be expansive, right? It's because he continues to be expansive in the way he exposes himself to learning and to experiences. Versus you look at as other folks get older, they narrow their circle down and narrow their circle down and narrow their circle down and narrow their circle down. I want to be expansive. Does that make sense? I want to be expansive. So what I've got to look for is events. NatCon. If you're not at NatCon, please get a ticket. Please get a ticket. I don't care whose team you're on. I will make you a deal right here, right now. Come to NatCon. Find me Sunday. I think it ends at 5 or 6. Find me Sunday at 5 or 6. If you can look me in the eye and tell me that it has not been worth your while to be there, I will give you cash back on the spot for your ticket. That's how much I know it will. I see you can say, I believe in it. No, I know it will help expand your universe. I always come out of NatCon, breakthrough, events like that. I come out of them thinking different thoughts, feeling different feelings, dreaming different dreams. Every time. Events, people. Sabrina talked about people. Who are you going to be around? That's going to determine what you think is possible and what you can do. If you're only around people that operate at low levels of energy, that's why I love being around people like Sabrina. High energy. I love, if you only operate around people with low energy, low ambition, low drive, don't think anything really good can be accomplished in anything that matters, it's going to limit what you think is possible. I want to be around people that are possibility people. Make sense? I know reality to be flexible. So I want to be around possibility people, not limitation people. And then media. Read good books. Learn stories of overcoming. I love stories of overcoming. When you give me a good story of someone that has overcome something, it just gives me belief. And here's what I know. I don't know what's coming, but I know that there will be really awesome stuff, and I know that there'll be really crappy stuff. And I know that I'm gonna have to go through all of it and keep my mind right. So that's why I love stories. I love overcoming stories. I was just reading about Giannis Antetokounmpo, the basketball player for the Milwaukee Bucks, where he came from. Him and his brother had one pair of basketball shoes, so they couldn't play in the same league growing up because they would have to pass the shoes to each other. His brother would play a game, then he'd give the shoes to him. He'd play a game and give his shoes to his brother. and then where he is now to signing a massive sneaker deal with Nike, and people all over the world want to wear his sneakers. Isn't that crazy? Stories like that. I love people that have that stories of people that come through dysfunction, grow up in terrible dysfunction, and become thriving adults. I love that stuff. So this is the stuff when you're thinking of what do I expose myself to. This is where we want to be thinking. All right. So that's the first part of our equation. And remember, if we want the bottom number to be bigger, this is basic math. If we want the sum to be bigger, what do we need to change? The numerators, the denominators, the stuff that goes into the sum. We can't look at the sum and get frustrated at the sum and go, man, this sum is the worst. I hate this sum. That's crazy. That would be like looking at the bottom of a math problem and going, well, 1 + 2 + 3 = 6. I think that's stupid. I hate that. Okay, then let's just make it 100 + 100 + 100. But now we got 300. It's all different now. Does that make sense? Let's work on the stuff we can change, because that will automatically change this. All right, let's go to our second thing, desire. Here's the thing about desire. You and I will never engage fully in the pursuit of anything that we don't truly desire. I'll say it again. You and I will never truly engage in the pursuit of something we don't truly desire. People say, I want a thriving marriage. And I say most people are mildly interested in a thriving marriage. Why? Because they don't engage. They don't fully engage. Does that make sense? I want a thriving marriage with Holly. I desire that very much. I will fully engage. Does that make sense? Like fully engage. Same thing with business. Same thing in anything that matters that you're trying to accomplish. We won't fully engage in something that we don't truly desire. So Mimi, I want you to talk about this a little bit, and then I'll come back on top of it, and we'll put a bunch of thoughts out there together for everybody. Mimi, I know you're someone that is currently and actively working on desire. Like I feel it when I talk to you. Your people feel it when they talk to them. When we get together, when I get together with you and your people, I feel it. So I'm telling you, I wanted you to talk about this because I know it will help the Alliance all across the country. Talk to us a little bit about the power of desire, what you do to make sure that you have strong levels of desire in the things that matter. Because again, this is the second part of our equation, and we want to grow this sum. So let's talk about this part of the equation. Mimi, light us up.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephen. I am so excited, so fired up. My desire to be successful has gone up. I'm crazy. You shouldn't put me and Sabrina on the same call. That is not a good
I knew that was dangerous. I knew I was taking a chance. But you know what? I said, let's take a chance.
Well, good. I hope it works out, okay? So thank you, Stephen, for having me on the call. Thank you for your continuous support. And thank you to Andy and Jen, like Sabrina was saying, for this amazing opportunity. So we get to grow our desire. That's one of the things I am the most excited about. That's something, Stephen, early on, I realized here. Like, I don't need to pay to a therapist when I have the Alliance around me. Honestly, I used to go to hotspot being down, but I know when I get to that hotspot, around the Alliance, around that fire, my desire, I just become a new person. Does that make sense? So that's the part I did. I was like, damn, this company is not about money. We just make it as a result, of everything else that we've been doing. But it's not about money. It's about growing. It's about believing yourself. A couple of days ago, I texted Andy. I said, man, thank you for making me dream again and have that desire to grow and be better and be bigger. And it's no joke. It's not money he gave me. It's just, like Sabrina was saying, it's the ability to catch that dream and that desire. It leads you up on fire where you're like, whoa, there's no words really to explain it. So desire, okay, that's what I'm supposed to talk about. So if you can't feel it, yeah, but sorry. Okay, I was looking at the dictionary. What is desire? So I find some words that I like, some I don't like, Stephen. It says a wish. I'm like, we don't wish for things. That's too weak. Nah. That's for weak people. We don't wish. A want, I like it because Andy has that quote. What do you want? How do you get it? So your want can increase. It's influenced, like we say, by the people around you. But the word the most is the hunger. A desire is the hunger. It's a thirst that you have, something that's burning inside of you that you want to be. And be careful, people out there. It can be positive, it can be negative. That's key right there. Because if you around, like Sabrina already did my talk for me, I don't know why I'm talking. Because if you around, your desire is fueled by the people you are around. Your environment, your culture, the people you put around you, it fuels your desire. So that's why some people use that as an excuse too, Stephen. They be like, well, it's not cultural for me to be this or to be that. It's the people they've been around. If it's negative, you're going to be negative. But if you're around people like us, I discovered, I'll say I was that smart. Discovering early on that the Alliance has positive people. When I'm around them, I feel different than when I'm around regular people. It's totally different. If you haven't experienced it, go do it. Maybe I'm crazy, but it's good crazy. I take it. So desire can be either positive or negative. Some people have the desire to, I don't know how, but to be bad. And it's not just because of themselves being bad, it's what they see around them, right? So then that's what they nourish, that's what the fuel, that's the hunger they have. It could be, I'm not saying it's a good thing, I'm just saying where you are, the people you hang out with influence who you are and what you desire to become or to be. Okay? I just wanted to point that out, but that's not who we are. Okay? So we are fired up people, positive people who desire big things. So how do you fuel it? Again, same way that you can fuel the negative desires, you can fuel the positive desire, but the people you're around, like being around the Alliance, I haven't been around anybody who's not fired up, always focusing on what's the next big thing I can accomplish. That's the people you want to be around. The events like Sabrina talks about, man, oh man, breakthrough was my favorite thing. I mean, I said about everything, to be honest, because every time we go, Stephen, that last thing we went through was the favorite thing because it changes you so much you forget about the other things, you know? So that's the truth. So at breakthrough, seriously, Stephen, it's almost like, I'm like, damn, I'm a new agent to the Alliance. Excuse me. I'm overcoming a cold. So I'm a new agent to the Alliance. I'm starting fresh. I'm building my team. I'm learning everything, and I'm just gonna blow up. That was my new desire from coming out of breakthrough. Forget that old sobby story, what I went through, how 2022 was. Forget that. You get refueled by new desire by being around the people that are the way you want to be. I started to dream big again after breakthrough.
That's awesome.
So, so that's your desire. You get it fueled by the people around you. It's the same thing that Sabrina was saying. If you around positive people, you're gonna become positive. Same thing with income. If you, like they say, I read it somewhere, they say your income is the sum of your 5 closest friends or the 5 people you around. I was thinking about it. I was like, I want my income to be like Andy, Stephen. I got a list of 5 people. I don't want it to be like the people that I know. They work. Why would I desire that? So that's what it does for you. Like books, read books, listen to media. Be careful with the media though. I don't ever listen to the news, Stephen. If I tell you anything about the news, somebody told me. Because you have to be very careful, since your desire can be fueled by the people, the media, everything around you. You have to be careful who you let in your heart, in your mind. That's crucial. Because the media, the people around you, the book you read, that can kill your desire. You can either fuel it or kill it. You don't want that. You don't want anything to kill it. So this is one of my favorite books by Les Brown. It's not over until you win. And you know that stays what he said. You gotta be hungry. So I'm like, you need things like that to get you fired up all the time, no matter what's going on around you. Like I was telling you that joke, Stephen, in Houston, I was talking to someone, and then he's like, Mimi, let's talk about this. I'm like, no, it's too early. I don't talk about stuff like that. He's like, what is it that you ever want to talk about? I say, if it's negative, never. I ain't got time for it.
He said, I'm starting to pick up that you don't have any time to talk about negativity.
No, I don't. Sorry about that. I don't have it. So fueling your desire, guys, is a choice. You are in control, full control.
Yep.
And that's what I like about it. I like to have control. Because if it's up to Stephen to fuel my desire by himself, he's great, but that's not his job. It's my job to decide who I'm gonna get around to fuel my desire for growth, for whatever it is. So, and believe it or not, it's contagious. People around you, like you were saying, Stephen, they're gonna feel it. They're gonna copy it.
Yep.
They're gonna copy it. And yeah, so my desire to grow is out of control right now.
I love
and
it.
My team, I think we all have that fire, like you're saying. We're doing great. I'm so grateful for a breakthrough. I'm so grateful that Andy with Mark and all that, we get to experience different things and stuff like that. And that was like a therapy session, like, except it's multiple days. You know, it gets you to dig into yourself. So people, please don't miss out on the next event. Don't miss out on the next breakthrough for sure. Dallas is coming. You got to be there. Whatever you have to do, sell one policy and go, because it will change your life.
I love it.
That's all I have, Stephen.
Thank you, Mimi. I knew it was going to be awesome. I love it.
You took a chance.
Hey, you know me.
I
am not afraid to roll the dice. There's a saying in my world. Well, now I know that. That's because I ain't afraid to roll the dice. Oh man! So I love that Les Brown book, by the way. His talk when he came to our national convention or family reunion, I forget one of them. Man, I could. It was like all of a sudden I was like, holy cow! How was that 2 hours? That was amazing.
It was amazing.
But yeah, you fuel your desire the same way, right? So you grow this number with the same thing. In fact, if you see on my notes, that's exactly what I've got written down. That's how you fuel desire. So it's the same. Now, here's what I'll tell you. The things that you've desired thus far are not an innate part of your personality. Let me say it again. The things you've desired thus far are not an innate part of your personality. They are learned, trained, and fueled. And sometimes people say, well, I don't really want that. You don't know that you don't really want that. It's just thus far you have adapted, trained, and fueled a different desire. Does that make sense? It's no different than when people make big shifts in their life and they leave dysfunction behind for hyper productivity. It's just they desired the substances or whatever it was. But that wasn't an innate part of them. It was something that was trained and fueled. No different than that wasn't an innate. The hyperproductivity was not an innate part of them. It was something that was trained and fueled. So if desires are not innate parts of us, but they're trained and fueled, why not pick the best possible ones? Why not pick the best possible ones? Since it's something that we're in charge of anyway. And that's what I love what you talked about, Mimi. You know, you want dysfunction or you want thriving? You want mediocrity or you want excellence? It's all part of, we decide, we train it, we fuel it. That's how desire works. Like some people they'll ruin a relationship, they'll drive a business into the ground just to because they desire to be right more than they desire excellence. Does that make sense? It's the same thing in a marriage, same thing in anything. And you're right, your crew, Mimi, they got some fire. So I'm going to be in South Florida a lot for the next little bit. That crew down there is just it's so exciting. You got South Florida, you got Orlando, you got so much good stuff going on. So proud of you. So we're going to proactively choose, we're going to proactively train, we're going to proactively fuel desire for the things that matter. All right. Confidence, the third part of our equation. Jeremico, light us up, brother. I love your story because when you came on board, coming from a factory background to now where you're at, I mean, it's just inspiring to me. I can say that about all my guests. I can say that about all the people I want to have on the call. I want to have like 1,000 guests on every call because I love my team. I just love my team so much. I'm so proud of you guys. But I'm just telling you, it's inspiring to see people that are putting this stuff to work. Jeremico, I want you to talk about confidence. Light us up, brother. Your story coming from the factory to where you are now. Dude, it's awesome. So light us up on confidence, brother.
Man, well, I appreciate you having me on the call, Stephen. Confident, man, when you told me about the call yesterday and what to talk about, I was like, oh, I could talk about confidence because I had to work so hard to get my confidence up, Stephen. Like, coming from a factory, like you said, Stephen, me, you know, having to be told what to do every day, taking 30-minute lunches. We only had 30 minutes. Criminals in jail get an hour, but we got 30-minute lunches. Talk about a blow to your confidence, right? It's like, wait a minute, I can't even digest my food. So I was in a factory for 4 or 5 years, you know, just wreaking havoc on my confidence. And I come across this business and, you know, it's like help people and make money. I was like, I think I could do good at this. And after my first policy, and I got the $416 for my first policy, I was like, you know what? I can do this 1,000 more times. And I did. You know, I started this business. And it's like, so my confidence was low when I left the factory. And so I had to build confidence. And part of the reason why I built confidence was because I knew I didn't know a lot of stuff, right? I knew I had to learn this business. So Stephen, you were good helping me starting off. I went to every meeting. Like, my first hot spot was with Andy Albright. And then you said, get to a convention. So I went to a Davies convention. And it's just like, I was just exposed to something different. And these guys all had confidence. You know, everybody there was making money over $100,000. I knew like one guy making over 100,000. It was like him, his wife and 3 kids. He was the only person I knew that was making that much money. And then when I met Stevie, he was making millions. And it's just like his confidence was through the roof. And so I had to hold on to Steven's confidence until I got my own, because I knew I had some building to do. I didn't have a bad childhood. I had a pretty decent childhood. So my confidence was okay, but it wasn't enough to build a business. So Steven helped me with that confidence. I remember one time I was struggling with something, and Steven, you said to me, hold on to my confidence for you until you get your own. And that really changed my life. Like, having somebody who believes in me until I believed in myself. Because I struggle with even making the trips. Like, I've been on 8 all expense paid trips. So I've been on 8 all expense paid trips. These are trips that people save up for a lifetime to go on. And I've been on almost all of them, like in 8 years. It's insane where we've traveled. I remember my first trip, how low my confidence was, right? Because I'm thinking, man, I got to help 100 people in a year, like in a 12-month period. So I struggled for the first 2 years to make the trips. But then it's like, after that, I hit one trip. And then once you do something one time, my confidence was raised. I'm thinking, oh, crap, I hit one trip, I could do this every year. If I had never hit that trip, who knows what happened? So my tip to everybody is fight like heck to get to wherever you're trying to go, right? Whether it's a trip, whether it's partner, whether you're trying to make 100,000 a year, fight like crazy to get there, because once you get there, you have the confidence. Now, on the way to me winning my first trip, on the way to me making 100,000, I had to do things like go to meetings, read books. So these are things that I wanted to do. I wish I could say something to the people who just don't want to go to meetings, don't want to read books. I don't really know what to say, because I All I knew is I didn't know the information. And so I had low confidence to grow a big business. I knew I could make some money, but to make big money and to grow a big business and it changed my life, I didn't have the confidence to do that. So I had to read books every day. Stephen said, read 6 pages a day. So I started with 6 pages a day. And he said, read 30 minutes a day. So I jumped it up to 30 minutes a day. And I had to do that to build my confidence. So, Stephen and Andy said, get around meetings. So I had to be at the meetings to build my confidence. I can't imagine sitting. Actually, I had some times where I missed. I missed roughly, I probably say 2 or 3 meetings, right, in my whole career here. I missed about 2 or 3 meetings, and my confidence went down because I missed those meetings. And so, being around the fire is important. Like when we were just in Texas, I needed to go to Texas. I didn't know I needed to go to Texas. I was actually going just to help an agent. I get to Texas, I'm thinking like, man, you know what? My recruiting can take off. I can take this thing to the next level. And I'm doing okay. But I'm thinking like, so now that I got around the fire and I'm looking at how Andy's confidence is with these new people who he met. I'm looking at Steven's confidence. I'm talking to Marcus Setup. I'm just getting around people. I'm around Sabrina and Mimi, and everybody's just on fire and growing. That helped my confidence. And so it takes time to build. So you have to be willing to build your confidence. Again, I did not have it coming into this business. Everybody starts off with a different confidence level. I love seeing new people like Nick Greco and Mike Garrett. They just come right in with confidence. I love seeing that. I didn't have that. It took me time, but I had to put the effort in. So if you're on this call and you got low confidence, you don't feel like you can build a business, it will take time. But the question is, are you willing to put the effort in to build your confidence? Because confidence is the key. If you don't have confidence, if I don't think I can go partner, I won't put the work in to go partner. If I don't feel like I can't do it, then I won't put the work. Like why put the work in if I don't feel like I can do it anyway? So I have to make sure my confidence stays high. So any other meeting that come up, I make sure I'm in Ireland. I'm making sure I'm in New Zealand. I'm making sure I'm in Texas, Dallas, Texas for the convention. I'm already signed up. Stephen has never had to ask me in probably 9-something years if I'm going to a convention. He's never had to text me and go, hey, man, you're going. He knows I'm going. Why? Because I'm striving to build my confidence. So, Stephen, thanks for having me on, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for being on, brother. I love it, man. And I love your example. I love your honesty. I love your transparency, because that's what people need. The people out there that are struggling with confidence, they need to know that you and I dealt with that same stuff coming up. Does that make sense? Like, they only know the now us. They don't know the then us, right? So I appreciate your transparency, brother. And those things you said are right, man. If you made the decision to use your money and your time to go to Houston. Somebody else makes the decision not to. You now have a bigger this than they do. Can you, I mean, it's we tend not to think of the impact of our decisions in the moment, but I'm telling you, that was massive for you. I'm so proud of you for being there, man, because this is how you build confidence. This is how you build confidence. Small promises kept, bold moves. And it's a combination of both. Small promises kept and bold moves. Small promises kept is you got up and you read this morning before you start your day. Small promise kept. You got up when you were supposed to. Small promise kept. You said you were going to make $350 this week and you made $360. Small promise kept. Bold moves. You know what? I'm going to bring 20 people to NatCon. I'm going to make that happen. Bold move. I'm going to invest $1,000 a week into my GMR. Bold move. Make sense? So that's how it's both. It's got to be both. Confidence is something that we grow. Confidence is also something we got to protect. If someone's a negative influence on your confidence, you just can't let them around you. And you say, well, that's not nice, Stephen. Let me tell you something. Misplaced kindness is cruelty. You're allowing them to behave that dysfunctional way is cruelty. It's misplaced kindness. It's cruelty. You got to protect your confidence. Now, let me tell you something else about confidence. And I'm going to move into that second part of our equation here. You can only borrow so much confidence from the past. You can only borrow so much confidence from the past. The confidence you and I have, this part of the equation, is largely built on who we've been lately. It's largely built on who we've been lately. That's the thing with confidence. That's why these things have to keep happening. Working in sync constantly, because our confidence is going to be largely based on who we've been recently. We can only borrow so much confidence from the past. We can only borrow so much confidence from the past. I love, there's a Condoleezza Rice quote that is awesome. She says, "I don't want to be known as the former anything for very long. I'm on to the next thing." I love that. She's not trying to borrow, you know that I was this, you know that I was that. She's not doing that. She's going, I'm on to the next thing. Confidence. All right, let's get going. So what was that second part of our equation? What we think and believe. Let's talk about that. We can put all those things into place, but if we don't craft thoughts that will craft our beliefs, we are going to erode all the work we did. So we think about the equation. I erased it, but you can remember it, right? We do work there, but then we don't change our thoughts and our beliefs, because our thoughts become our beliefs. We're not going to hit any of the goals, because we're going to erode all the work we just did. We get our equation straight, but then we skip NatCon. Right? So thoughts and beliefs. Let's talk about thoughts for a minute. There's 5 major things that you and I got to digest about thoughts. And these are major. These are facts. Any psychologist will tell you these are facts. Any sociologist, anybody that has studied the mind will tell you these things are facts. This is why thoughts are so dangerous or so amazingly helpful. Thoughts are powerful. Thoughts are like dynamite. It can do amazing things. It can do terrible things. Here's homework for everybody. I'm going to do it with you too. I'm going to go home and do it with you too. Read the first chapter of Think and Grow Rich, Thoughts Are Things. I've already read it, Stephen. Read it again. I've read Think and Grow, personally, I've read Think and Grow Rich over 100 times. I'm trying to think of exactly how many. I lost track. I'm going to reread that first chapter. That first chapter is powerful. It's a reminder of the power of thoughts, because thoughts have everything to do with what we come to believe. Here's number one. Thoughts determine who we are. Who we are, we're made up of thoughts. Thoughts about ourselves, thoughts about the world, thoughts about people, thoughts about things. That's what we're made up of. We're made up of thoughts. Our thoughts determine who we are, good or bad, bad or good. Thoughts determine who we are. Number 2, our thoughts determine what we come to hold as beliefs. It starts as a thought, it becomes a belief. This is why this is so important. We do all this work, we get a good goal set, but then we still think things like, well, I'm less than. In the past, I've always, why are we talking to that guy? Remember we talked about the three people? Past me, current me, I just showed up. Future me, why are we talking to him? All right, I'm going to give you a key distinction when it comes to thoughts here in just a second. Our thoughts determine what we believe. Each of these build on top of each other. Our thoughts determine what we do. Jeremico said it. If we set the goal to go partner, but we don't think we can, or we don't think people that look like us can, or people that grew up where we grew up can, or people that had insane parents like we did can, or people that had parents that were too easy on them can, or parents who were too hard on them can, or people from this part of the country can't. If we think that, we're not going to engage. That's going to deplete our desire. When we deplete our desire, it depletes our confidence. When it depletes our confidence, we stop putting ourselves around stuff that will make us think we can. Can you see how that all works? This is why the thought change is so important. And I'm going to give you an easy formula at the end that you and I can walk away with and build on. But I'm telling you, read that chapter. Think and Grow Rich, chapter 1, Thoughts Are Things. It'll mess you up. All right, so our thoughts determine who we are. Our thoughts determine what we believe. Our thoughts determine what we do. All of that determines what? Our thoughts determine who we become. Future self. This is the problem. This is why most people don't make big moves in life, because they're still listening to the thoughts of past self instead of asking future self, hey bro, what do I need to think to be like you? Okay, think big? Okay. Think people are awesome? Believe in people? Okay. All right. Instead of think people are always out to get you. Ooh, really? Yeesh, I didn't know that. Things never work out. Oh, they don't. But not for you. No. Makes sense? Sounds a little crazy. But as Holly would say, Stephen Davies, proof that you can be twisted and still optimistic. So who we become, and then the last thing, our thoughts determine how much of our potential we actually use. Potential is a terrible thing to carry around. Our thoughts are going to determine how much of our potential we actually use. Can you see how powerful thoughts really are? It determines who we are. It determines what we believe. It determines what we do. It determines who we become. And it determines at the end of the day, or the end of whatever, how much potential I've got left. Can't spend it then. That's wasted. So that's how powerful thoughts are. Now, here's what I want to give you. The key distinction with thoughts is how we view them. The key distinction. We tend to think of thoughts in terms of their truthfulness. In other words, is that thought true? That's why past you messes with you so much. Because a lot of the things he says were true. Like when he reminds you that you signed up for that gym membership and did nothing with it. Like when he reminds you, well, you put in a big GMR, but then you chickened out and then it didn't. Well, that's true. Okay, I hear you. But there's a much more productive lens to look at thoughts through. Here's the more productive lens. Look at thoughts through the lens of their usefulness. It may be true, but is it useful? That thought, the thought of, well, you know, I tend to always chicken out at the last minute. Okay, it's true, but is it useful? If it's not useful, leave it in the past. Ask future you what he needs you to think. Because he's begging for you to think something different. He's begging for you to stop. He's going, quit talking to that idiot. I'm just telling you, quit talking to that idiot. All he knows is all the dumb stuff. That's him. Leave him behind. Dump him. Let me tell you, you could do this. I need you to do that. Can you see? He's going, okay, that might be true, but is it useful? It's not useful moving forward. Does that make sense? And so we think thoughts that become beliefs that may be true but not useful. It makes real change nearly impossible. So the new lens that we've got to look at thoughts through is usefulness. Is that thought useful? Is that thought, hey, we could say another word. Is that thought helpful? Is that thought helpful? Will that help me with what I said I want to get done here? This is back where we're talking about goals again. Is that thought helpful? Is it useful? Will it help me get to here? We don't care if it's truthful or not. By the way, this psychologist will tell you this, most of what you remember as the past is very fluid. In fact, it's a sign of emotional maturity to be fluid about the way you remember things. Because as we grow, we gain more lenses to look at the past. So we get more perspectives on it. If we're psychologically and emotionally rigid, we view it through one lens. That person they were like that, they'll always be like that, and they'll never change. That event hurt me. It upset me. It depressed me. It ruined that. And that will never change. That's emotionally immature. Emotionally mature is, well, that event, that was tough. It was tough. But you know what? I bet they were doing the best thing they knew how to do with the information they'd come to accept at that point. Man, that event was hurtful, but you know what? Because of what I went through, I learned empathy at a level. See, that's mature thought process. So your memory should be much more fluid than rigid. Makes sense? And again, it's because we're using this lens. Helpful, useful, instead of is it truthful? Maybe true, but if it's not helpful or useful, we have to discard it, or it's going to cause us to, one, weaken our desire, which will weaken our confidence, which will cause us to expose ourselves to less things that make us think it's possible. So this becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And then we end up that person that just makes a little goal, puts it down behind in a closet, and then just doesn't say anything in case you don't hit it. You don't really. But when we look through this lens, is that thought helpful? Is it useful? Then we start growing our desire, which makes us do things that grows our confidence, which makes us want to be around bigger things, which makes us want to be around people that are succeeding at the things we want to succeed at. Can you see how the lens changes everything here? Because know this, at the end of the day, these will 100% become these. Can't stop that. Can't stop that. So it's important to use the right lens before we get to here. Is it helpful? Is it useful? It may be truthful, but is it helpful? Is it useful? All right. Now, the last thing I said I was going to tell you about was the third part. And this is where we need a behavior belief directive. So when we set these goals, I need you to write out a behavior belief directive. Here's what a behavior belief directive looks like. It looks like this. Because I. And you may add a word or two here, but please keep the simplicity of this. When we go complex, our brains get bogged down. And you already know this. I already know this, right? I'm just reminding you and me both. Keep it as simple as possible. Let me give you some examples. I am going partner because I fill in the behavior. Does that make sense? Because I am traveling to go see as many people as I can see and help as many people as I can help. Because I am in 8 cities a month. Because makes sense? I win the trip by family reunion every year because I run 30 appointments a week, no matter what. Because I. It's important to do both. Why? We're cementing in the behavior we need to cement in the belief we need. We're cementing in the belief we need so that we cement in the behavior we need. The two are linked. Does that make sense? Now, what do we do with these behavior belief directive statements? Here's what I'm going to tell you to do. As you get, remember our formula, as you get to this part right here, as we think about those things that we are going to do in 2023, we write out belief, behavior, directive statements, and we write them every morning. We write them every morning. Ooh, I just came up with one. I accomplished all my 2023 goals. I am accomplishing all my 2023 goals because I write out my behavior belief directive statements every morning. Every morning. It's powerful. I got chills when I was looking through some of my older notebooks and I was looking at belief directive statements, belief behavior directive statements that I wrote out a few years back, that I wrote out every morning, a little spiral bound notebook every morning. I got chills. I went, oh my God, that happened. Oh my God, that happened. Oh my God, that happened. I'm telling you, belief, behavior directives is magic. So we go back to the beginning of the call. I dropped my notes there because I thought I was done with them. We know where goals come from. We know where goals come from. We work through the formula. We know how to change the result because we know we can change the numbers that make up the result. We talked about thoughts and the power of those thoughts becoming beliefs that are going to determine what we do here in the equation, right? If our thoughts become disempowering beliefs, desire shrinks, confidence shrinks, exposure shrinks, number shrinks, possibilities shrink. Then we added the belief behavior directive statement. We put all that together. Guys, I'm telling you, you can do amazing things in 2023. I have seen in my 22 years in the Alliance, I have seen amazing things happen. I have seen people come from all different backgrounds, and I mean all different backgrounds, and do major things. I've seen people's marriages improve. I've seen so many amazing things. Here's what I want. I want those amazing things to happen for you. Holly and I want 2023 to be the best year in the history of your family. So let's get out. Let's get after it. I can't wait to see you out there on the road.